Hello my friends, alright, here we are at the final very exciting step of this implementation where we visualize the results. So we're going to clearly visualize the rules and see for each of them, their support, their confidence and their lift, and mostly we're going to see which are going to be the best deals, buy one product and get another one for free. We'll clearly see which food goes well with some other food for these French people in the south of France. Okay, so let's do this. We already have the rules here, which were the output of this Apriori function. So you will see that it will be very simple to display them. Therefore, let's select that cell in order to create a new code cell just below. And indeed, in order to have a first look at these rules, well, we simply need to create a new variable, which we're going to call results, the results of this Apriori model, which are nothing else than the rule. But see what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this results variable as a list of the rules, which will just put these rules into a list, right? As simple as that. We just want to have our rules into a list so that then when we display the results, by just calling this variable and executing this cell, indeed, we will get in the output all our rules in this list. You recognize the square brackets here and at the end as well. All right, so all these rules are listed one by one, in different rows. All right, so there you go. These are all the rules, all the rules following these criteria. A minimum support of 0.3%, a minimum confidence of 0.2, a minimum lift of 3, and of course, 2 products in the rules, one on the left and one on the right. All right, so let's have a look at them one by one, starting with the first one. So that's the first rule here. And what do we see? Well, I'm just going to, highlight it. All right, so that's the first rule. All right, so let's see. First, we see that the 2 products in this rule are light cream and chicken. But be careful, the order is not if customers buy light cream, then they will buy chicken. No, it's actually the other way around. Because indeed, if we scroll to the right, well, that's important. You see, items base is equal to light cream, and then items add is equal to chicken. So that means that actually the left-hand side of the rule is light cream, and the right-hand side of the rule is chicken, okay? So that means that if people buy light cream, then they will have a high chance to buy chicken. And that high chance is actually measured by the confidence, which is 0.29 here. So that means that if customers buy light cream, then they will have 29% chance of buying chicken. Which makes sense, right? Well, at least in France, because usually French people love to put some nice light cream with lemon as a sauce for their chicken. Right? It's a common traditional French meal. I actually really enjoy it myself. All right, and then we can also see the lift, which is a very good one, 4.84. I remind that all our rules here will have a lift larger than 3. And then where's the support? The support is right here. The support is 0.0045, meaning that the rule containing these 2 products appears in 0.45% of the transactions. All right, then let's see what we have. So the second one, escalope mushroom cream sauce, but same, the items base is mushroom cream sauce and the items add is escalope, meaning that if customers buy mushroom cream sauce, then they will have a high chance of buying escalope, and that high chance is 30%, right? 30%, then the lift is 3.79, 3.8, and the support is 0.005. Okay, good. So you see you have all these rules, they look great. But we would actually appreciate a nicer way to have a look at them, because here you see we have to do these scrolls to the right and left and it's a bit overwhelming. So don't worry, I actually found a good code snippet online. I think it was from Stack Overflow or another source like that. So we're going to use that code snippet to actually put the results well organized into a pandas data frame. We won't have to re-implement that code snippet from scratch because, it is very specific to this association rule learning implementation, and therefore you will just see that once in your life. So it's not essential, and therefore we will just copy and paste it here from our original implementation. But of course, I will explain to you the code. So let's get it first. It's actually at the bottom, and it is this one, all right? We make an inspect function which will return the rules, meaning these rules, well organized into a pandas data frame. And the cool thing about this is that we will even be able to sort the rules by a descending metric, right? Because if we notice here, well, they're not sorted, The lift starts at 4.84, then goes down to 3.79, and then goes back up to 4.7, and here 5.16. And remember that the lift is actually the most relevant metric to measure the strength of a rule, So if we want to sort the rule, to get the strongest one, if we want to, select a few deals, well, we would rather do it with the lift. So what will be really nice here, when putting these results into a well-organized pandas data frame is that then we will be able to sort easily the rules by the lift or another metric. All right, so let's get this function. I'm going to copy it here, and we will paste it inside our implementation. Right here. There we go, paste. And now let me explain to you how it works. So, as we can see, it is a function that takes as input the results, meaning these results, the rules as they are right now, organized this way. And then it will take separately the left-hand side of the rule, meaning the product at the left-hand side of the rule, then the product at the right-hand side of the rule, then the support of all the rules, then the confidences, the lifts of these rules, and then it will return all the rules with the left-hand side and the right-hand side, and their supports, confidences, and lifts inside the list, right? That's why we have this list function here again. All right, so that's what this inspect function will do. And then at the end, we create the final pandas data frame, which takes as input the output of this inspect function. And besides, we add the column names. The first column will be the left-hand side of the rule. The second column will be the right-hand side of the rule. The third column will be the support. Fourth, the confidence. And finally, the lift. So we will have a super nice table with these columns and giving all the important informations for each of the rules. Okay, so that will be super practical. And now let me explain how, we get each of these elements, the left-hand side and then the right-hand side. All right, so the first thing to notice is that for loop inside a single row. Indeed, we take the full list of all the rules here, that's the full list of results. And then for each of the rule in this full list of rules, well, we're going to access each of these elements and take them separately. And so let's start with left-hand side. How do we take that left-hand side, which is, right here, the items base frozen set light cream, basically light cream? Well, let's see. So first we take the single rule, Let's take, for example, this one to explain how we're going to get these elements. So we take these rules, and then in this rule, we first access the index 2. All right, so let's access it step by step. This element here, up to the comma, is the element of index 0. Okay, then this element is the element of index 1. This is the second element. And then this full element, up to the closing square brackets here, is actually the element of index 2. All right, so all I've highlighted here is the element of index 2. So now in that element of index 2, then we're going to access the element of index 0, meaning the first element. And the first element is actually the first element of that list, in square brackets. And that is, of course, all this, ordered statistic up to, be careful, up to the closing parenthesis here, meaning right here. So all this is the first element inside that, big element which I've just highlighted before, from ordered statistics up to actually the end. All right, so this is the element of index 0. And then in this new element of index 0, we're going to access the first element, of index 0 again. And well, we have to look inside this parenthesis, and that's of course this element, which is indeed the left-hand side, right? Because this is what we want to get. Left-hand side, items base, that's the same, and that is light cream. And then for the right-hand side, that's the same. We took the same first element of index 2, then that whole element of index 0 inside this first element of index 2, and then instead of taking the index 0 here, we take the index 1, which is that element. Items add, frozen set, chicken. All right? So that element is, that element of index 2, then index 0, then index 1. And then that index is to indeed catch what's inside, chicken. And same for that index 0 here, that was to catch light cream. All right, so you see we just play with the indexes to access what we want, but really you will only have to do that once in your life, so don't worry too much about this kind of overwhelming code, even if it's quite funny to follow the indexes path to find the products. But then the good news is that for the support it's going to be much simpler. Indeed, we just need to take the full rule, the single rule, so, this whole rule, and then very simply we access the element of index 1 directly. So remember, in this full single rule, well, all this is the element of index 0, and then all this is the element of index 1. And that's exactly the support, which is what we want. And we do this for each of the rules in this whole list of rules, okay? Then confidences, once again, it's a bit more complicated, but just like before, first we get the element of index 2. So let's take it again. This is the element of index 0. Then this is the element of index 1. And then all this is the element of index 2. Okay. Then inside this whole element of index 2, well, we're going to access the element of index 0, which is, let's take it again. So we start from here in an ordered statistic, and then we go up to actually the closing parenthesis of here, which should be right here, right? Let's check the parenthesis here. So that's the first opening one, then the second opening one, closing here, then this is a new opening one, closing here, and then there you go. Okay, so that's the closing parenthesis of indeed this element of index 2, then index 0. And then inside this element, now we're going to get access to the element of index 2. So that's the element of index 0, then that's the element of index 1, and then finally that's the element of index 2. And that's exactly the confidence, which is what we want to get right now. And then same for the lift, so same path. First, we get access to the index 2, then index 0, so just like we were right now. But then instead of taking the index 2, like for the confidence, we take the next one, which is the index 3, and which corresponds to, of course, the lift. All right? And that's how we get the lift. So you see the idea, it's just a game with the indexes. We access the elements inside this whole complicated list of rules, but at least we will get a nice result in the end. And really, you don't have to worry too much about this code. It is very unique, very specific, and you will probably not have to re-implement it again in your life. You can just take it, I just took it online, and indeed it is very practical for what we're doing right now, meaning association rule learning. Okay, so good. Now let's have a look at the beautiful result. So we are going to play this cell first to, build that inspect function and then create that new data frame, which I called results in data frame, and which will contain the same rules here, but better organized and more beautifully organized, let's say. And so now we're going to create a new code cell here just before this text cell to first display the results non-sorted. And to do this, well, we simply need to call what we created here, meaning results in data frame, all right? And then when pressing play, you will see that we will get a very nice table containing all the rules with the different elements in separate columns. So that's the left-hand side of the rule, the right-hand side of the rule, and then the support of the rule, the confidence of the rule, and the lift of the rule. So let's have a look at the rules one by one. For the first one, as we saw earlier, if customers buy light cream, then they will have actually 29% chance of buying chicken. All right, and this rule appears 0.4% of the time, in 0.4% of the transactions, and it has a lift of 4.84, which is indeed very good. Then the second rule, if people buy mushroom cream sauce, then they have a good chance of buying escalope, and that good chance is 30%, and it has a lift of 3.79. Pretty good still. Then if people buy pasta, then they will have a good chance of buying escalope, and that good chance is actually pretty good indeed. If customers buy pasta, then they will have 30% chance of buying escalope, and the lift is 4.7. Then check this out, we have a good lift here for fromage blanc and honey. Yes, of course, fromage blanc and honey is a delicious French dessert. I actually really enjoyed that dessert. It is one of my favorites. And indeed, when you buy fromage blanc, as a French person, you will definitely enjoy putting some honey on it. All right, so indeed, that's a great rule, and I would definitely make this deal, buy fromage blanc and get honey for free, right? Because indeed, the lift is 5.16, so very, very good. Then herb and pepper, ground beef. Yes, of course, French people or even, other people from other nationalities love to put herb and pepper on ground beef. This is actually exquisite. And indeed, we have a good confidence for that rule, and actually, well, not that high of a lift. Okay, then same for tomato sauce. It's nice to put tomato sauce on ground beef. The lift is still close to 4. light cream, olive oil. Well, I don't really see the association, but why not? I'm not really a good cook, but maybe there is a recipe where we can combine olive oil and light cream. I'm not so sure about that, but however, this one is definitely something I would do. Whenever I buy whole wheat pasta, I also get olive oil, and indeed the lift is pretty high. And then pasta and shrimps. Yes, that's a very good specialty of south of France, especially near the coast. French people, of course, love mixing pasta and shrimps. All right, and the lift is 4.5. So very good. You see, these are much better to observe. But then we still don't have them sorted, which here is fine because, we don't have that many rules. But in other situations, you can end up with many more rules, and therefore you would like to sort them, for example, by designing lift, because the lift is a very relevant measure. So I'm going to show you right now how to do this. It's very, very simple thanks to pandas. So let's create a new code cell. And here we're going to take again, our new beautiful data frame, results in data frame. And now we're going to use a pre-built function by the pandas library to indeed sort the results of this data frame by a specific column, which we're of course going to specify here. All right, so let's do this. To do this, we need to add a dot here because we're going to call a specific method of the data frame class, because this results in data frame is actually an object of the data frame class by pandas, and that method is called nLargest. There we go, this one. And inside, we just have to enter 3 arguments. As we can see here, you have all the info thanks to Google Colab. So the 3 parameters are first n, which is the number of rows we want to return. So I'll just put that as, if I was doing a code template, I'll just put n equals 10 to, in general, return the 10 best rules. So n equals 10. Then we will keep the default value. That's in case we have duplicates, but that's fine for us. I actually checked them. And then columns. All right, so that's the other parameter I want to input here. And that's, of course, to specify by which column you want to have your results sorted. All right, so columns equals, and the most relevant metric is perhaps the lift. So we're going to sort these rules by the lift. And to do this, we simply need to specify the lift value in quotes for that column's parameter. So in quote, I'm going to enter here lift. All right, and that's it. This is simply what you have to do in order to sort your rules by the column you want. Here, lift. If you want to order them by confidence, which is also great, you would just specify here in quotes confidence. All right, so let's try. Let's play this cell, and there we go. Now we have indeed the rules sorted by the lift. This is the highest lift, 5.16, down to the lowest lift, 3.11. And so let's see, as I told you, that's a very popular association, especially for French people. They love to put honey in fromage blanc. Anytime you go to a French restaurant, you will see in the dessert menu, fromage blanc with honey. And even if you don't see it, you can always ask the restaurant. They always have honey not too far. So that's definitely a very strong rule here. And, if I was the owner of the shop, I would definitely make that deal, buy fromage blanc and get honey for free. Then same, this is the second strongest rule, light cream chicken. So another great deal would be, if you buy light cream, you will get chicken for free. And that's actually a very good deal. But, as I told you, the owner can put some smart prices that, would amount to a good price for, buying the two. Right, but that's another story. Here we're doing association rule, not pricing strategy. So there we go. Let's move on to the next rule. If people buy pasta, then they will enjoy buying escalope as well. So a third great deal would be buy pasta and get escalope for free. And then same with pasta and shrimp, of course. If you buy pasta, you can get shrimps for free. Then if you buy whole wheat pasta, you can get olive oil for free. These deals will be very attractive to the customers because indeed customers buy these association of products. Okay. All right. So there you go. These rules, for most of them actually make sense. And there you go, my friends. Congratulations. You built your first association rule learning model to identify clear rules that will create some added value to a retail business. So your job is done, and now you can enjoy the beautiful days of south of France after completing successfully this new data science mission.